Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something pretty interesting today. This guy, Shlomi Boxer.
Yeah.
You heard of him?
He's making a lot of noise online, and I think he's actually coming to the US on a speaking tour soon.
Oh, wow. Okay, so people will get to hear this firsthand.
Yeah, he's speaking to Jewish and non-Jewish groups, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be. And I think it's important what he's doing because, especially lately, you hear so much negative stuff about Israel in the news.
Yeah, you see that word apartheid state thrown around a lot, which is pretty
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what drew me to Boxer in the first place, because he's really pushing back against that narrative, you know?
Yeah, and doing it with a lot of passion, too. You can tell he really cares about this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But apartheid? Israel an apartheid state? Israel is the furthest thing from being an apartheid state, and it's time that we put this myth to rest once and for all. And people who call Israel an apartheid state clearly do not know the definition of an apartheid state, or they have never been to Israel.
I was watching one of his videos on YouTube, and when he starts talking about the Israeli flag, you could just see, like, the emotion in his face. It's not just a flag to him.
I know what the Israeli flag stands for and what it represents. And this is why I get so excited every time I see the Israeli flag.
It's totally tied up with his identity and this idea that Israel is being misrepresented and unfairly attacked.
Right. And he's not just, like, ranting about it. He's actually trying to back up his points.
Yeah, he uses some really specific examples. Like, he points out that there are Arab judges on Israel's Supreme Court.
Oh, wow.
Arabs serving in the police and even high up in the military. And he talks about Arabs and Jews going to the same universities and hospitals.
So he's basically saying, like, look, this whole apartheid thing,
Yeah.
it just doesn't hold up when you look at the facts.
Right. He's trying to show a more complex picture than what you often see in the headlines.
And it's interesting because he doesn't just focus on, like, the political stuff. He also talks about how the media ignores a lot of the good things that Israel does.
Yeah, like what kind of things?
Well, he gave this example of the IDF, you know, the Israeli Defense Forces,
Right.
and how they're often the first ones on the scene after natural disasters all over the world, providing aid and helping people.
Oh, yeah, I've seen pictures of that.
And he's like, you never see this side of Israel in the news. It's always the negative stuff.
And I think that's part of what he's trying to do with this speaking tour, show a different side of Israel.
Yeah, like a more human side.
Exactly. And the fact that he's speaking to both Jewish and non-Jewish audiences is really interesting to me.
What do you think that means?
Well, to me, it says he's not just preaching to the choir. He really wants to reach people who might have already formed an opinion about Israel.
Yeah, maybe even people who are skeptical.
Yeah, and get them thinking, challenge their assumptions.
And maybe even start a real conversation.
Yeah, because that's what's missing in a lot of these debates about Israel. It's just people shouting at each other.
No one's really listening.
Right. And so I think Boxer's message has the potential to be really powerful because he's not just defending Israel, he's advocating for understanding.
Yeah. And that's something we could all use a little more of.
Absolutely. So if you get a chance, I would definitely recommend checking out his speaking tour if he comes to your city.
Yeah, it's a chance to hear a different perspective. And, even if you don't agree with everything he says, I think it's important to be open to hearing different viewpoints.
I agree completely. Sometimes just listening to someone else's story can help us see the world in a new way.
And that's what this deep dive is all about.
Exactly. Expanding our understanding of the world.
And hopefully having some thought-provoking conversations along the way. So thanks for joining us today, and stay tuned for our next deep dive.